revive my kindergarten bucket because I've been missing that for a while. So I'm going to say good morning, and you're going to say good morning, Mrs. Cabeen, because every single day for 6 years, I walked into 16 classrooms and I greeted 400 kindergartners, and that's how my bucket got filled. And so I'm going to ask you to help me out. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mrs. Cabeen. Thank you very much. I have to tell you, though, this year I took a leap and went to Ellis Middle School. And when I walk into classrooms in the morning and I say, good morning, 7th graders in social studies, I don't get that reaction. And then when I run up to a student in the 8th grade lunch and sit down and say, I love you, thank you for being here, he responds, Mom, knock it off, you're embarrassing me. No joke, there's a lot of trauma in the fact that your mom's your principal. But I am so honored and excited to be here, and I continue to pinch myself that I get to be on stage because I sit with you and I work alongside each and every one of you, and you could all be up here. So thank you for letting me be here. My random slides start with some rocks. We all have rocks in our day. We all have rocks in our lives. And there's a delicate balance in leadership. We have to place those rocks in a certain order to support those structures. And I'm going to be honest, sometimes those rocks are being thrown at us. And we're ducking and dodging and getting bruised and beaten up by some of those things that are coming at us. Leadership is really about using those rocks not as barriers in our day, but as the building blocks to drive our mission forward for our staff and students and families. Leadership is fun. It's engaging, and it's who you are. Leadership is not about looking apart. It's not about looking about what you think you're supposed to look like. True leadership is about being the leader that your school needs you to be each and every day, and only you can do that. And sometimes you just can't explain what you do. Like leaving the happiest place in southeastern Minnesota for a middle school gig, because that's logical. But when you at your core know exactly what your mission is, you lead well. Leadership is about beating to your own drum regardless of the music everybody else wants you to play. You know what you need to do to make your school function for kids, and don't let anybody distract you from that. Leadership is a journey, and you're going to help me out right now because now I'm getting a little nervous because there's a lot of big people over here, and Joe. So let's take a deep breath and blow it out. We'll do 2 more. Deep breath in, blow it out, and 1 more. Deep breath in and blow it out. Leadership is sometimes taking a pause and reflecting on the great things that you do every day and the great gifts of your staff and students in the small moments. Sometimes we go off course. Sometimes the directions turn around. But if we don't just stop, take a breath, and enjoy the journey, it's going to fly by us before we know it. I was really hoping it was going to be a spam slide. Dang it, not a spam slide. Oh my gosh. Leadership is original. You have to be original. And because I love to talk about spam, I can't not talk about it. George A. Hermel always used to say in the Spam Museum that Joe visits quite often, never been there. Originate, don't imitate. Do what you need to do to meet the needs of your students and your staff, and don't worry about what other people are saying. They have the meeting after the meeting in the staff lounge. You don't need to worry about it. It's going to happen anyway, but do what you need to do to meet the needs of your staff and students. Dream big, live colorfully, lead boldly, and elevate every interaction and action you can every day. When we talk about dreaming big and we think about our students, when I transitioned to the middle school, I made a huge mistake. I assumed that the dreams and the hopes and the aspirations my 5-year-olds had just dissipated when they turned 14. I was wrong. Elevating student interactions and experiences means we have to honor their voices, but that looks different in middle school. They're not going to run up and give you a hug, but if you can find them in their element and ask them an honest question and listen, they're going to respond to you. So it's so critically important to honor their voice and where they're at and to celebrate those successes on a daily basis. And when we're talking about honoring a voice, it's really important to also think about parents. As a kindergarten principal for 6 years, I really learned deeply that parents are our child's first teacher. That experience cannot stop the minute they get on the school bus and start their K-12 career. Elevating families' experiences means honoring their expertise, asking families what their hopes and dreams are for their students, not just when they're first graders, but when they're 12th graders. Continuing to make that a partnership and not a participation when we talk about that family engagement. Living colorfully. Living colorfully looks in classrooms and in your life is beautiful. It's exciting. It's energetic. We ask our teachers every day to make lessons that are inspiring, innovative, engaging, and then sometimes they walk into our staff development and it's sit and get, one size fits all. Elevating staff development for our teachers is essential to show them that we're learning and growing right alongside them, and we want to make our professional development as exciting as we want those teachers to have their classrooms. But with all those demands, it's so critically important that we also care for our staff. I say self-care is not selfish, and for some of us, self-care can save a life. So I really encourage you to make sure that you're taking care of your staff. There is no award for the last car in the parking lot. And sometimes in order for them to really hear that, you have to model that yourself. Last year I was on the stage and I said, we are all superheroes, but we're not made of steel. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. You are going into a weekend, plug back into your family. Plug back into them. Maybe not become their 8th grade middle school principal. That might not have been a great choice. But plug back into them when you can. I always love to spend that time with my family, to really reconnect with them. When I started teaching, people always said, leave your problems in the parking lot when you go in and teach. As a school administrator, I challenge you to leave your problems in the garage before you go into the house. Take some time away, turn the phone off, fully engage with that family, because that's the nameplate you want at the end of the day, is the mom, the wife, the husband, the spouse, not just the principal. And finally, leading boldly. I just finished a book by Daniel Pink, and he talked about the middle place in an experience. He talks about, you have a beginning and a middle and an end. And if you think about a school year, at the beginning of the year, you still remember that. You might remember your first day of school. And you remember, or sometimes want to forget that last day as well. But when you get to that middle place, it gets mucky. And sometimes we can't always remember what happened in the middle. At the pre-conference, I challenged people to find one thing in these 3 days. Pick one thing you learned, do it well. So I challenge you this year to make the middle of your year memorable and amazing. Take something from this week, implement it, congratulate staff, collaborate, and continue to learn. Thank you so much.